our very own Joey Cassata down there has written a new book called Kiss Drummers, the Heartbeat of the hottest band in the world. Sorry, I memorized that and then I forgot it. I would never be a good actor. And we're going to talk about it. I'm going to break into this tonight, but I'm more curious about what's not in this book. And then he's got a little more to talk to us about that's kind of personal. So we'll do that today on Podcast Rock City Live. What's up, everybody? Joe here from Podcast Rock City, and with me this week, the man, the myth, the Amazon top 5. What are we at now?
I think we're at 7. I need some help. We got to get to number 1, but go ahead.
Okay, number 7, author right now, Joey Cassata.
What a beautiful night this is. It's a Saturday night. The three of us are together, and there is someone missing, which we really do not miss at all. Mr. Sonny Pooney, good riddance. It's a beautiful Saturday night, Joe. Lee, how are you?
I'm doing well. And right there is the lovely and talented herself, Goddess of Thunder. Hi, Lee.
Hi, everybody.
Just so you guys know that all are watching right now, Lee scrambled to be able to log in today so she can comment.
I haven't been able to. Now I finally got it.
Yes, I saw your first comment that says, welcome, everybody. Look, there's a lot going on, and we're going to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get to the news.
Podcast Rock City News.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of people already started getting their Dress to Kill box sets. Have you seen that, Joey?
Yeah, I've been listening to it on Spotify a lot. I love these box sets. I don't purchase them. I'm not into vinyl so much. I don't need all that stuff. But I will tell you, the music is, to me, what it's all about. I'm loving it. First, we can start with the remaster. The remaster is awesome. Dress to Kill has never sounded punchier. To me, it's always been one of the better production albums anyway, especially the first 3. But the bass is a little bit thicker in the remaster, and I think it just sounds phenomenal.
Ooh.
I have not listened to it yet because mine is coming on Tuesday. But you say it's on Spotify now.
It is.
Okay. Lee, have you had a chance to listen to any of it?
No, I'm not on Spotify, and I didn't buy it yet, so I need to do something.
We got the CD version.
Better. I need to listen to it.
Lee, I'll tell you, especially because obviously you're a bass player, it's almost worth grabbing Spotify for the month just to listen to it. I know obviously the box set costs a fortune, and I'm not talking anyone out of buying the box set. If you're a collector and you want the physical product, get it by all means.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go on Spotify, however you listen to music, you're going to consume it the same way. It's awesome. So it has the remaster. It has tons of outtakes and demos, different versions of songs. Joe, there's some great versions of Anything for My Baby that I know you will love every version of it. And then it has, it's almost like a Dress to Kill / a live box set, because then it has a couple different shows or pieces of shows, at least, from the Dress to Kill tour, which is basically alive.
Right.
And the production on that is phenomenal. Again, me being a drummer too, Peter's drums sound so punchy. The bass drum, especially on some of them, sounds so in your face. If you haven't listened to it yet, you got to go listen to it. It is a can't miss.
Cool.
That sounds amazing. Maybe I'll do that tonight when I get done here. Listen, a few things before we move on. I want to let you guys know something. If you're part of the Thursday night special program that we have, it's a members only thing. It's $4.99 a month. This Thursday night, we are doing a live show. It's 1 hour long. So if you haven't joined that yet and you would like to, we actually have something special. I got my stuff in this week for and Joey, I'm sure, and Lee already have theirs. I don't know if Sonny has his or not, but we're going to do something really special that night. So if you want to join, and you're watching YouTube, down on the bottom left, there's a little button that says join. Hit it. It's $4.99 for the month. And hey, Andy Kiss Forever and Rex, what's up? Anyway, we're gonna, so come and hang out with us. I think we're doing that at 8:00 on Thursday. Okay, I want to show you guys this real quick. As you can see, there is going to be a toast, and not the kind you put in a toaster, but a toast for Ace Frehley before Joey's party, the pre-party. And on what is that? So that's a Thursday night, right? Thursday
November
night.
13th. Yep.
Yes, Thursday. And if you would like to get a special glass Ace Frehley commemorative, what do they call them? Flutes? Is that what they call it? It's a flute.
Champagne flutes. Yes.
Champagne. I'm not a drinker. I don't know. And the person that drinks in my house is upstairs. And by the way, person who's upstairs, I need these.
We will get to that in a second. By the way, that's really the news today. But go ahead.
Okay. So so you could get it. The toast to Ace Frehley, the champagne toast to Ace Frehley. It's $27.88, and that's with an alcoholic drink. Non-alcoholic, which is what I would have. I would get a Coke Zero or something. 22. I can't do that. Joey will be mad at me. I'm going to have real booze with him. $22.70. So you save a few bucks. And
Joe, you will be a heavy alcoholic by the end of that weekend. That's my goal.
No.
Yes.
I'll be in the bathroom throwing up every day. I don't need that.
I'll hold your hair if you have any.
I have my hair.
No, I mean the length, long hair. I mean,
Oh yeah. Oh, I know how that works, but I've never had long hair. Anyway, you guys could go on there and get that. It'll be pretty cool. A nice little keepsake about the
Yeah. So the pre-party is just. I think if you pull that up again, the pre-party is just about sold out. I literally think there's maybe 5 general admission tickets left. There's something, guys. Once this is sold out, it's gone. There's no more tickets. There's only, 300, 400, 500 people, whatever can fit into this room. They're sold out. There's like 5 tickets left. So if you're on the fence, grab your ticket. Even if you don't wind up wanting to go, you could always resell that ticket. Trust me, we're still, a month away. If it's sold out now, it's going to be a hot ticket to get into this pre-party on Thursday night, November 13th. And the cocktail party, which we're doing, we were going to do something cool. And then, of course, and we're going to get into more of this. Obviously, Ace passed away. So, we're revamping not only the cocktail party, but really the whole night. So the night is going to start with the cocktail party still. I'm hosting the cocktail party. It's going to be a tribute to Ace, the cocktail party. We're going to, call it Return to Jandel. And, we purchased these champagne flutes. And the plan is to literally film the biggest toast in the world to Ace Frehley, all 400, 500 of us or whoever in the room at the time, making a toast with these champagne flutes to Ace one last time. And it's just a keepsake and a commemorative thing. Again, there's no money to be made on these events. The charity is, of course, to fight cancer, but the amount of money that goes into these events from Kiss Army Spain and Neil Davis and all his partners at Kiss Cancer Goodbye, there's no money to be made. This is all either paying the cost of what we have to do to rent the hall and pay people's travel and blah, blah, blah. And there's no pocketing of anything for anyone. This is all going to charity, or it's just being done so we can celebrate not only the kickoff to the KISS Vegas event, but now to also celebrate Ace Frehley. And obviously, KISS, we're doing a celebration for KISS Alive. That's the first set. Myself, Zach Throne, Jeremy Osbrock, Ryan Spencer Cook, we're doing the celebration of Alive. Then the Handsome Devils are coming out, which is myself. I'll be playing 3 hours of straight drums, which, Joe, I'm going to need some Gatorade funnels or something. And we're doing, we're doing Creatures of the Night. We're doing Lick It Up. We're doing all rarities that you would never expect live. And then at the end of the night, we are doing we just added this. We're doing a full tribute to Ace. It's going to be all guest musicians, mostly Ace's core band with Jeremy and Ryan and Zach and Scotty Coogan coming in on drums, doing a special tribute to Ace with all guest star musicians kind of in and out throughout the night. So it's going to be a very, very special night. So there's only a couple tickets left. If you didn't get them, grab one now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited that I'm going to be there. And I'm excited to see if anybody else shows up. My thing is now that it's becoming this like tribute to Ace, I'm wondering if any other musicians might want to come and jam. To tell the truth, when you just said, Joe, I'm going to need, I thought you were going to say you to get on stage at one point and play a song. And I got excited. And then I realized that I was just going to be your roadie and bring you some Gatorade.
You never know if there's if there's an opportunity that we plan on covering anything for my baby, I'm pulling you up.
Nah, don't do that. It'll just ruin the night for everybody. Lee. Okay. So, obviously this has been a tough week for us. I know it's been a tough week for you. I am I've been thinking about songs I would like to hear played at this event, and anything for my baby, of course, is not on that list. But I would love to, and now obviously it's becoming a tribute to Ace, but before that, I really wanted to hear Hooligan, and I'm throwing that out again. Or Torpedo Girl sounds great too, because that works. I asked you this last week. I keep putting you on the spot. Anything you want to hear?
Lee?
Me?
Yeah.
Ace's solo album. That's it.
Ace's that would
Full
be a good
78
one.
Solo.
So listen, I don't want to give anything necessarily away, but obviously we're doing a tribute to Alive. I'm not sure if we're going to get to be able to do all of Alive, so we might have to kind of cherry pick what we're going to do, just because we do want to add this full tribute to Ace at the end. So we are going to cut the other two sets a little shorter than usual. So, but Alive will be almost in its entirety. We can't do every little nuance, but we'll do most of Alive. Then the Handsome Devils, what we do best is that middle, I call it that middle era of KISS. If you want to call it Elder, Creatures, Lick It Up, all those rarities. We're going to do tons of stuff from those middle KISS years where really no one touches. And then, of course, Ace's band and all the guest stars. And we're reaching out to anyone and everyone. So you never know who's going to show up to these, whether it's Gene or Paul, whether it's Slash, whether it's Mick Jagger, whether it's who knows. Ace has influenced a lot more people than you think. So, we're reaching out to everyone, and we do have a couple already confirmed, and it's going to be a great time, a tribute to Ace. And the set list is still kind of in flux right now, but you can bet that it's going to be a lot of rarity Ace stuff that you wouldn't normally hear to really do his tribute the right way.
Sounds awesome. I will tell you guys, so this week was my birthday, and Karen bought me this new hoodie.
Woohoo!
A new hoodie. And
that's not all, Joe.
I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, look, the arm.
Oh, look at that.
Yes. Oh, that's great.
I like that.
Yeah,
Old
the
days.
Yeah. Thank God it doesn't
Elder
go down
Ace.
the front of my body, because it would look like a hilly area. Anyway. All right. So that's all the news.
No, it's not.
No,
No, it's not.
whoa.
Look at him.
Lee, do you want to tell the real news of the week?
I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but finally Joe and Karen are getting married.
We got engaged.
They got
Karen, so just so you guys know, Karen was basically like, why get married? We've been dating for 11 years. It's not necessary. And every night I would go to bed, I would cry. And
Oh,
finally, I broke her down. I broke her will to
I
not
don't
get
think
married.
that's how it happened.
It wasn't. I went. She told me she had a present for me, and she started a painting. Let me tell you, this is the difference between Karen and I and an artist, which is her daughter. Okay, the picture is 3 canvases, 2 side by side, 1 underneath. I posted a picture of it on thing. Karen did it, and then Kenzie came in and basically it was like, "This is awful. I'm fixing it." Okay,
I didn't know this.
but she basically, if you look at it, it's on our Facebook. Each panel blends into the other one. And when I said, "What gave you that idea?" she said, "The posters on your wall downstairs from the solo albums."
Oh.
And what did those paintings say, Joe? What did they say?
They said, "Let's get married."
Oh.
And I cried. I'm not afraid to say it. I love that woman. I've said it 100 million times. Lee's been around her. She loves her.
Love her.
and
She's
and
the best.
And if anyone doesn't know, so Karen also has a side job. She's also sometimes referred to as Pablo, sometimes
Yes.
referred to as Enrique,
Yes.
sometimes referred to as Consuela. These are people that, produce our show periodically. And now that Karen is officially going to be maybe a Polo or a Polo House member, not a
Miss
Polo.
Polo.
Okay. Yes.
Kind of a Polo.
Yeah.
We're looking for a new producer because we just can't have. I personally can't have someone married to Joe producing the show because it's going to be all about Joe then. And I know Joe's the most handsome. He's the cutest one of the show. But yes, Lee, we don't want favoritism and Joe always coming out the good guy because we know Joe is not always the good guy. So we're looking on the hunt for a new producer.
Holy mackerel! Karen just got fired. Anyway, all right. So that's
or promoted depending on the way you look at it.
Maybe they'll be in a little event in Vegas, possibly.
It's being planned actually as we speak right now.
Boy.
So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, all right, look, there's the news. Thank you guys for all the kind words. I am a very lucky man, and I mean that. I can tell you guys that 10 or 15 times today, she did something, and I went, I am so lucky. That's the absolute
You're both
truth.
lucky, Joe. You two are great. We love you.
Oh, she's definitely more.
She is not lucky. He is lucky.
Yes. All right. So let's go ahead and get to the topic of the week.
Podcast Rock City Topic of the Week.
Okay, so first things first, I want you guys to pay attention up there into the corner. There's a QR code. Scan that QR code. Go buy Joey's book. Joey, does it tell you when somebody buys your book?
I mean, I get reports, but I don't check them, hourly.
No, it doesn't.
I check.
It doesn't let you know. Bing.
No.
Otherwise, it would go off all the time. Okay, I get it. There's Joey. That's that QR code will take you right to Amazon where you can pick up his new book. This is what it looks like. Yours will not have this little stripe across it like ours does. I will tell you there's some cool pictures. And there's a lot of detail in here. I started skimming it while I was eating my turkey burger. I'm on a diet. And there's some really cool. I actually have that ad right there. I have it. Yeah. Anton Fig in his Playgirl pose. Go back to that picture. It looks like it's on the cover of Playgirl magazine. Hey,
oh,
guys.
hey. How you doing?
Anyway, so all right, let's get into this, Joey. Obviously, you're a drummer. We all know that. But there's never, I don't believe, been a book written about the drummers
of
Kiss. So is this something you've been thinking about for a long time?
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually did that research too, Joe. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't one written about just the drummers. And from what I could tell, maybe there was, and I don't, maybe not in the US, but I've never seen one. And me being, especially, having to learn so much Kiss material over the recent years, doing the Kiss Cancer Goodbye stuff and Creatures Fest, and now the Kiss Vegas event, I've had to recreate so many of these Kiss albums over the last 3 or 4 years. I've done Unplugged in its entirety. I've done Kiss Alive 3 in its entirety. I've done Creatures of the Night in its entirety. I've done The Elder in its entirety. I've done Lick It Up in its entirety. I'm about to do a Live 1 in its entirety. I did a Live 2 last year. So I'm really going down the rabbit hole. And all those albums I just named were kind of a piece of all of them. So Unplugged and Alive 3 was Eric Singer. I did a Live 1, a Live 2, which was Peter. I did Lick It Up and Creatures and The Elder, which was, of course, Eric Carr. And, really, of course, I've always appreciated all three of them so much. Peter is the reason why I play drums today. I saw him Madison Square Garden 1979. I've told the story 1,000 times. I was 5 years old. Changed my life. When I saw him do his solo, I saw him go up on the drum riser during Black Diamond. I needed to be a drummer for the rest of my life. Fast forward, I grew up with Eric Carr as my biggest influence because, I'm only 5 years old in 1979. A year later, Peter is gone from Kiss. Eric is what I grew up with all through the 80s, The Elder, Creatures, Lick It Up, so on and so forth. So Eric became my biggest influence as far as my playing. And then, even once Eric passes in 91. I'm only 17 years old at that point. Eric Singer, who I saw on the Paul Stanley solo tour, became a massive influence on me as well. And then through all those revenge years and stuff like that. So, I have such appreciation for each guy in his own way. I wanted to tell their story and how they kind of intertwined, which it's funny because, and I know you guys obviously haven't had a chance to read the book yet because it just came out and none of you really have. But when you get a chance to look into this book and you start reading it, what I tried to do was, so many people think of, Peter Criss years and the Eric Carr years and the Eric Singer years, and that's it. They don't realize that while Peter is in Kiss, those, first 6 years, Eric Singer and Eric Carr exist, right? They're in the world playing music, and so I intertwine their stories in real time throughout the book. So, in 1977 or 1976, when Peter's on top of the world with Kiss and Beth just comes out and, Super Kiss is about to launch, and what's Eric Carr doing during these years? What's Eric Singer doing during these years? So I kind of intertwine. Everyone knows the story of Kisstory in every book, all the biographies, all the autobiographies, all the Kisstory books out there. This one tells it through the eyes of the Kiss drummers. And yes, Anton Fig is heavily featured. When Anton's years come around, Anton is explored, and so are all the other studio drummers, Alan Schwarzenberg and Kevin Valentine, and all these, Richie Fontana from, the Paul Stanley solo album, and Carmine Appice, and all these other guys who've contributed to the Kiss drummer world. They're all featured in this book heavily, all intertwined into that Kiss timeline in real time to show what these drummers were doing over the years.
Lee, do you have any questions?
Sounds really cool. I always wondered, did you have to do anything legally to use the photos and likenesses and all that? Or is that
so of course. I mean, listen, all photos are copyrighted, most of them. All the photos I'm using in my book are either licensed by me, stuff that I own myself, or they're part of memorabilia through other people's collections. So you'll see a lot of the photos aren't high res quality because they're pictures of photos in a magazine. They're pictures of a magazine that I own from Circus, the cover of Circus magazine. I literally took pictures of my magazine. So the way around some of those legal rights is if I own the memorabilia, I can take a picture of the magazine itself.
Interesting.
And show my magazine inside the book. Same thing with
Wow.
any photos featured in the magazine, or if it's a poster. My good friend from that disgusting podcast, The Three Sides of the Coin, Mark Cicchini, sent me some of his memorabilia pictures of his, his posters and
Mhm.
his stuff over the years. And I was able to use some of that. And, I got so much stuff from families of some of the drummers. I have never before seen contracts from Ludwig with Eric Carr, all of his Ludwig contracts, what he was entitled to. Everyone thinks, oh, you're the drummer for Kiss, you get him anything free you want. Nope. If you read my book, you'll find out exactly what Eric was. Eric signed a contract. It was a yearly contract. Every year he upped his contract. Every year he got one free kit. Anything he wanted, but it was one free kit. And that's why you notice every tour or every album, Eric would have a different kit for each album. He started with the Unmasked kit and then went to the Elder kit and then went to the Creatures kit and then Lick It Up at something different and so on. The Asylum kit has the red kit. And every year, Eric upped his contract and got a new kit with Ludwig. Same thing with Peter. I do a deep dive. If anyone's ever noticed all the early Peter shots, and I know we're going into drum nerdom here, but all the old shots of Peter, Peter plays Ludwig drums all the way up and through Midnight Special. Midnight Special, he is his first Pearl kit ever, that black Pearl kit. And it was the first kit he ever got that he was endorsed with. And it was only because Ludwig didn't believe in Kiss at the time and they wouldn't give Peter an endorsement.
Wow.
Peter wanted to be a Ludwig artist.
Wow.
And Ludwig was the big brand then. Pearl was this upcoming startup drum company, and Ludwig wouldn't back Kiss. Pearl did, gave Peter a kit for Midnight Special, and if anyone knows the end of Midnight Special, he destroys the kit. So for a period, even after Midnight Special, Peter's actually back to Ludwig. Even though he's a Pearl endorser, he goes back to Ludwig for a little while because he doesn't have any more drums. All he has is his Ludwig drums.
That's
and
amazing.
then eventually Ludwig, starting, with the Dress to Kill tour and all of the Alive stuff is recorded on his Pearl kits. So I go into deep dives in all the kits and the contracts over the years of what the Kiss members used and, really deep dive into the drum history of the Kiss drummers.
Wow.
Do you think that Peter playing Pearl kits up their sales?
Oh my God. I think it put Pearl on the map.
Really?
Thinking back, who else plays Pearl at that point? I think everyone goes through that Ludwig phase. Peart played Ludwig for a little while, but then he eventually becomes a Pearl artist. Mm-hmm. I think Peter is that catalyst of all the Pearl artists to come after him. Peter puts Pearl on the map almost, and I hate to use this analogy, but if anyone has ever seen that Michael Jordan documentary where he puts Nike on the map.
Right.
Nike is a startup company. He wants to go with whether it's Converse or Adidas or whoever it is. Nike just does the right thing and offers him the color shoes that he wants because he's going to get fined by the NBA if he uses anything but white. You're going to get fined by the NBA. Anyway, long story short, Michael Jordan signs with Nike, much like Peter signs with Pearl. Peter signs with Pearl, and I think puts Pearl on the map after that.
Pretty cool. So let's talk about a couple other things. I don't want you to give away too much because I want you guys to get the book and read it yourself. Look up there in the corner. You can see there's a thing that says buy Joey's new book. Scan it, get the QR code, scan it, and pick up the book. How many times did you find out things that you didn't know while writing this? You don't have to tell us. If you want to, you can tell us something, but it's up to you.
I'm one of those fans that thought I always think I know everything until I actually start deep diving into stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, I know nothing about Kiss. It's like when I started doing some of the research on Kiss, some of the stuff I just never even thought of. Like I mentioned, like what was Eric Singer doing in the mid 70s while Peter was in Kiss? Eric Carr was doing, it was deep into like the pop, the top 40 tribute scene, and he's doing all that stuff, and Eric is doing his thing. learning about the contrasting styles and paths that these drummers were on, but ultimately they were all kind of going to meet down that same alleyway with, obviously the Kiss alleyway. And it just amazed me. And then finding out like little things, like I have some never before seen, I'll give you a quick little glance at it. This is the actual stuff Eric sent in to Kiss for his audition. This is his bio right here. Reading his bio, I got from his sister Loretta. Reading the first interview he ever did with Bill Aucoin over the phone, getting some stats. Like, does he have any management? Has he ever appeared in any magazines before? I asked Joe this in a private conversation. Like, I always wondered, like, how tall was Eric? How tall was Peter? How much did they weigh? You kind of know Gene and Paul over the years, but all that stuff is in this book. Like, I got all their stats from Eric's bio and from his stuff that he sent Kiss. It says his height, it says his weight, it says his real age, it says his hair color, his eye color, all those cool deep dives that you think you kind of know until you see the actual documents. And like I said, Joe, too, same thing. I always just thought, oh, Eric Carr's the drummer for Kiss. Everything he gets is free. Meaning drum-wise, right? No, not the case. Even back then, like all his drum heads were only 60% off for Eric Carr, the drummer of Kiss. Remo was giving him a 60%, and that's pretty standard back then. It was an artist deal, and he would get 60% off of all artist cost. Now, that doesn't mean Kiss wasn't picking up the cost. Eric didn't have to pay for it out of his pocket, but it still amazes me. Like, even me at my level, I get all my heads for free. I get all my Evans heads, as you can see right here, for free right now. Because I'm an Evans artist. I endorse them, and me using Evans heads hopefully makes 10 other drummers use Evans heads. I would think a lot more than 10 drummers use Ludwig and Peisty and Remo because Eric Carr used them. So it just amazes me that some of that stuff that I found out going into deep dives.
Lee, you have anything?
No, that's really interesting.
Okay, so let's talk now. Obviously, you had I am not like, okay, when it comes to like history of the band, especially like behind the scenes, who played on what record, who played on what song, I am not up to date on all of that, to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to learning a lot of it in this book. I always thought it was Peter, Anton, Eric, but that's not the case, is it?
I mean, even one of the comments here, I go into deep dives. Like I said, Anton, of course, had some studio work. Alan Schwarzenberg came in. He did a couple things on The Elder. He did a couple things on Animalize. Even all throughout the solo records. Peter doesn't play drums on his whole solo record. There are other drummers that play drums on there. So there's so many little just niche things that I go into detail. And listen, by all means, I didn't get everything perfect either. I did months and months and months of research. This is the stuff that I found out. Call it law, if you will. I don't know if every stat that I found out is perfectly accurate. I published what I found. The findings that I found tell me this, and it steered me towards this way. Yes, the song is it Eric Carr? Is it Alan Schwarzenberg? That's still up for debate. And if it is Alan, not Eric playing on the reasoning behind it is very, very debated. There were reports where Bob Ezrin didn't think that Eric could get the feel. And then there was a report where they wanted to double the track, which is very hard as a drummer. If you want to double the track exactly, you can't have any note that even just does that because it's a flam and it'll sound awful. And then there was a report that Eric couldn't double the track. And then, other reports that I found out were more, which is to me more accurate, I think anyway, from my fandom and my knowledge of being a drummer. People have to realize when bands are in studios, it's not just about who can play it the best and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's just about who the hell is in the studio at the time.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds crazy, but it's even happened to me over the years and so on and so forth. It's about you're tracking songs and you want to fix something, and maybe Eric Carr wasn't around at that during that day. Not because he wasn't called, he just wasn't scheduled that day. And maybe Bob Ezrin was like, we got to double this track, but we can't double it with this track. We got to start all fresh. And maybe Alan was in the studio recording something else, which I think he was at the time, which is what I found out. Maybe they just brought him in and said, hey, dude, can you lay this track down for us quick? He laid it down, he doubled it, and it sounded fine, and they kept it. They kept it not because it was better or it was perfect, but because he was there. They're not going to redo it with Eric Carr and spend a day retracking drums that sound perfectly fine just so Eric's on the song. Sometimes it's just about cost and feasibility of it. It just falls into what's the easiest way to get this record done.
So interesting.
Are there names on the album if they had a piece of it? Or?
I mean, listen, Kiss back in the day always was very cryptic. Like Anton wasn't mentioned on Dynasty. He wasn't mentioned on Unmasked. So back in the day, of course, they weren't. But now if you dive a little bit deeper, you can see where these guys played. Like, listen, I even heard rumors, and this was right from Eric Singer's mouth, that there's a chance that the song Forever maybe is a demo by someone else, that it might not be Eric Carr on it. I disagree because I know Eric's playing and I hear how he hits. So I'm a firm believer it's Eric. But there's a rumor that, that Paul was demoing with other drummers. I wouldn't even mention his name because I don't want to get him in trouble. But there's a chance that some of the track that was kept for the record wasn't all Eric Carr. Again, it's all up for debate. Will we ever know the truth of any of this stuff? Of course not, because we'll never know from the horse's mouth, or he said, she said, and we'll never know that if the producer kept this or didn't keep that, or sliced this together, or so. It's just fascinating to me, all the discrepancies. Obviously, listen, Gene doesn't play bass on all those songs. Paul doesn't play rhythm guitar on those songs. Ace is not playing all the guitar on every song. It's a matter of what's the easiest to get done. It just so happens that the drummer has the most feel of a song, and they're the easiest to pick out. Like if you listen to Unmasked, it's not Peter Criss, right? You can tell 2 seconds in. You listen to Psycho Circus, it's not Peter Criss playing that stuff. It's not his style. It's not how he hits. So, guitars and bass and stuff like that is a little easier to cover up ghost musicians.
Yeah. So Nick had a good question up here. He wanted to know, so what did you find out about the drummers playing other things? So we do know that Eric played bass and maybe guitar too, right? Do you happen to cover any of that in the book?
Yeah. So Eric, obviously we know he laid the bass track down for I Still Love You.
Right.
Eric played guitar very well. All the songs, like something like Under the Rose, he wrote that on guitar. I can't say for sure if he tracked any guitars for that song, but something like All Hell's Breaking Loose, he wrote that riff. Da 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 da. That's Eric Carr's riff.
Wow.
So Eric wrote that on guitar. I don't know if he laid the track down for that. Again, I tried and I didn't find any solid evidence that he did, but yeah, Eric played guitar very fluently, especially rhythm guitar, played bass very fluently. Peter and Eric Singer, I did not find anything where they're necessarily playing other instruments. Obviously, they do tons of vocals as well. But to answer Jared, Frank, we also all hate Jared. I think we agree on that.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, Kevin Valentine. I go deep into Kevin Valentine's stuff. People don't know, but Kevin Valentine recorded a lot of Revenge. That's not all of Eric Singer on Revenge. From my research, that is not Eric Singer on Take It Off. That's Kevin Valentine. Again, these are the types of things. If you grab this book, it shows tons of all this behind the scenes stuff through the drummer's eyes, through the drummer's vision. I go deep dive. I don't necessarily critique and talk about every song specifically, but God, I must go through at least 5-6 songs every album, and either my reviews, Paul or Gene's reviews, Ace's reviews, Eric's reviews, Peter's reviews over the years, compiling all this stuff, talking about the tracks over the years too, talking about Nothing to Lose, talking about Under the Gun, talking about Torpedo Girl, talking about, the drum tracks on these songs and how they shaped the song and what they did to record the songs, and deep dive into the Creature's sound and why and how they got that sound and why they didn't, and how they changed course on Lick It Up to change the sound, and why, if the sound was so good. There's just so much detail as a drummer, and I think all Kiss fans will really appreciate it. It just goes into a deep dive into history from a different angle.
Before we move on to our next topic of the week, I wanted to ask you, is there anything that didn't make the book that you sat and said, I should have put that in the book?
I know. I think we talked about something, Joe. You have something in mind, don't you?
No, I know that you mentioned it, and I thought it would come right off the top of your head. I know that when you asked me how tall do you think Eric Carr is,
you hit it right on the head.
I hit it right on the head.
Which is crazy. Lee, just if you had to guess, how tall and how much did Eric Carr weigh? And I'm not going to give it away here. Buy the book if you want to find out. But
5'8".
And what do you think? How much did he weigh?
170.
So again, all these things surprised me.
But I got to buy the book to find out.
Yeah, you're not crazy far off, Jared. Okay. I know you can't read, dude. The audiobook will eventually come. I just haven't had the chance.
Jesus.
Buy the book anyway. Look at the pictures. There's some nice pictures. Maybe you can get a crayon. You can color some stuff in. You'll enjoy it. Don't worry about it.
Poor Jared.
But yeah, listen. There's tons of stuff. After I kind of not hit print, but kind of started the print process, other stuff, information started coming in, and pictures people were sending me. I couldn't include every little thing. So I didn't include every little detail, but I included it. I think it's 425 pages. It could have easily been 800 pages, but I wanted to put it a little bit concise to make sure where it's not only giving you the history of these drummers and all the details you might want to know, but not rambling on about the minuscule, tiny things that I don't think the average fan might want to know.
Gotcha. Okay, so this has been a lot of fun. Hey, look, I'll put that up right now. Buy Joey's new book. There's the QR code for it. Snatch it up. I have my author's copy.
It is the number 7 book on Amazon right now in new releases. I'm dying to get it number 1. I have 3 other number 1 books in my collection. If you're thinking about buying it, I would love an influx of buys tonight. Maybe we can get this to number 1. If we can, it would mean the world to me. Like I said, my autobiography went to number 1. I have a couple of other books that went to number 1. I'd love to have this book, which is very personal to me, the Kiss drummers who really mean the world to me, to be number 1. So if you're thinking about buying it, it's available on Amazon now. If you have Amazon Prime, you could probably it'll probably be at your doorstep by Monday or Tuesday morning.
And Jeff Trott did the cover.
Oh,
Jeff Trott, who is incredible. So I designed the guys here. Jeff is incredible. He did the logo. He did the full back cover for me. Jeff is a powerful and attractive man who I plan on hugging and kissing when I see him in Vegas, more than he will be comfortable with.
Yeah, he just recently pulled the trigger on coming. For those of you that don't know, I know a lot of you guys. I'll show you this real quick. See these posters up here? These are Jeff Trott, where they're basically, I'm sorry if I'm in the microphone. They talk about the covers. They're basically, let's see if I can light that up a little better here. They're very hard to get because they pretty much sold out, but they're based on the bubblegum wrappers.
Bubblegum, yeah, those are really cool.
And there's even a couple where he made them up, invented some new ones himself, where he had Vinny on the cover and Eric on the poster, and that's really cool. Also,
Jeff is incredible. I mean, the work he does, he's so fast and smart, and how he designs stuff. He is top notch. If you ever need any kind of art done, graphic design done, Jeff Trott is the way to go. To answer the gorgeous Matt Porter, who was asking me about some autographed copies. So I plan to have some autographed copies. I'm going to hopefully have them at Kiss Vegas. I'm shipping some straight to the Virgin Hotel. I plan to have at least a couple dozen. They're going to go super fast. They'll probably all be gone the first night. I do plan on autographing as many as I can. Autographs copies through me, I don't have yet, because I don't even have my author copies yet. That'll happen over the next month or two. But if you're going to Vegas, if you bought one, bring it and I will sign it for free. If not, come see me. I will have copies available and I'll sign it. I'll personalize it right to you right then and there.
Absolutely. Also, if you just to do a commercial for Jeff, if you have a record coming out and you need a cover, that's the one thing he hasn't done, is a cover of an album. And he's always talking about, hey, I really want to do a cover. Anyway, so keep Jeff in mind. If you just get in touch with Joey and we'll get you in touch with Jeff. He's super. I mean, like, I have an arcade machine he designed the entire wrap for. It was Alive 2 inspired. He did the entire wrap. So it's one of those things where it's really cool.
And not only does he do it great, like he did the Order of the Rose cover too. I did the cover, he did the logo for me, he designed that stuff. He's not only good, he spoils me, because it takes me a very long time to design some of this stuff. And I can literally email him and he'll get back to me a day later and have something better than I could have ever imagined. Couple little things with the book. Because it's a full color book, like I said, all the photos are in full color. Unfortunately, Amazon has a little bit of a limitation on where I can offer this book. The only two markets that don't offer these full color books are Australia and Japan. So if you're in Australia and Japan, you can't get my book right now. I know it's not as good and it's not a great alternative, but I will be putting out just the full black and white version eventually, so all the markets can get it. But Australia and Japan, you cheap bastards, you won't offer the you're like the Sonny Poonies of the marketing world. You won't give us the full color offering. So I'm so sorry for anyone in Australia and Japan. They can't order the book through Amazon right now. You will get it eventually, I promise.
Okay. So it's right up there. Get the I bought a life-size skeleton.
That's amazing.
Terrible. Of an Ace Frehley costume. A couple of days ago, I'll be bringing my buddy.
He would think it's funny.
He would. Okay. So listen, let's go ahead and talk about this. If you guys see, there's a Scan Me Now QR code up there. Scan it. I was watching a live Kiss concert today that has been like cleaned up and everything. It's beautiful. And if you want an opportunity, I'll leave that up for a little while. You can scan that and watch it on YouTube. I watched it today. It was great. Joey, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. You were at Ace's wake on, what was that, Wednesday? Tuesday. And I know you had called me and you said, I'm on my way. I'll give you a call when I'm on my way home. And I know that Eddie Trunk, you and I had a long discussion about what do we want to talk about, without being too personal. This is a very personal thing. Eddie Trunk did come out and say a few things which opened up the door a little bit more. So I know you've had time to think about it. What was it like for you? I could start you off. You did say that it was surreal.
It's the best word to describe it. So listen, this was not something I ever planned on talking about publicly. I was invited. It was a very, very small service. 50, 60, 65 people there, max. Wow. Small room, very close friends, very close family. His bandmates, current, his former bandmates. I wasn't planning on. I talked to Joe. Joe's kind of like my vice. I talked to Joe when first time I recorded with Ace. I called Joe first. I wanted to share the experience with Joe because it was a joyful, happy time. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever went through. Being in the recording studio with Ace and tracking for his new album. Joe was my first thought. I had to call Joe because I know Joe is a nerd and a homer like me. He would appreciate what I just went through. And I want to share that experience so he kind of feels like what I went through. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I wanted to, this is a very obviously different feeling. I still wanted to share it with Joe. I called Joe on my way to the wake and said, Joe, I don't know what I'm walking into. I'm on my way to Ace's wake and, you know, I don't know what to expect. And like I said, I wasn't going to share any of this because Eddie came out and Eddie Trunk came out and kind of described the scene and who was there and so on. I feel a little bit more comfortable talking about it. I'm still going to keep most of it personal for me, just for Ace's family and for myself and for the attendees. But to describe the event as surreal is an understatement. You know, it's like I said, it's a very small event. If anyone's ever been to a Catholic wake, the first row is family. And it's an open coffin. People are going up to the coffin, paying their respects. Ace looked great. Ace looked like Ace. His sunglasses, his hair looked great. Picks in the coffin, strings in the coffin with him. Flowers everywhere. Tons of Ace-themed flowers bought by very close friends and family. There was a giant playing card, an ace of hearts playing card made of flowers, bought by a very close friend. I won't mention his name just because I don't know if he wants it public.
That's okay. You don't have to mention his name. I can tell you I got to see it. They sent a picture of it to me.
Oh, great.
And it was
beautiful. Who it was. Yep.
Yes, it was beautiful.
The family got a giant Gibson Les Paul Sunburst guitar in flowers. And when I say giant, 6 foot, massive, just beautifully done. It was a beautiful service. A priest talked for a little while and it was very somber. It was very quiet. Like I said, we all went up to the coffin, paid respects to the front row with his immediate family, Monique and Jeanette. And Peter was in the front row with his wife, Gigi. And, you know, obviously they were very, very upset. Peter was sobbing most of the night. Shortly after the opening of the ceremony, Gene, Paul, and Doc came in. And, you know, Paul went straight up to the casket. Gene, and again, it's a small room, so we're hearing everything everyone's saying. Gene just couldn't do it. Gene said, I can't go up there. I just can't do it. And, you know, it was a very emotional night. And at one point, it was so weird. I was in the back of the room. And when I say the back of the room, I'm talking about 15 feet, 20 feet. It was a very small room. I'm in the back of the room with, you know, people that played with Ace and close friends and family and managers and so on and so forth. And, you know, just to paint the picture. And again, this is the vision that kind of is ingrained in my brain. And I told Joe about this. Paul's in the front row, kneeled in front of Peter, kind of talking to Peter. Whether I couldn't tell exactly, holding his hand, kind of consoling him a little. Gina's right behind them in the second row. And 5 feet behind all three of them is Ace laid out. And it was just a very surreal vision. And the person I was talking to in the back of the room, we were saying how it doesn't feel like this is real life. It feels very surreal and it feels very like just not real life. And to see those 4 guys for the last time like that it was emotional.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that with all of us, Joey. You know, I know that I know there's one more person that's in our chat right now. I think that was there as well. And you know, I'll look forward to, you know, what they have to say when they talk to me next. And you know, I'm really sorry that we've all had to go through this. One thing that I do want to bring up, and it has been brought up now, and that is that Eddie Trunk has talked with the family about maybe next year doing a tribute concert towards for Ace, and I think that that's wonderful. There's no details yet. He basically said, "Don't write me yet, and don't tell me you wanted." We hadn't even started talking about it, but I think that would be wonderful. When one of the things that like really is amazing is how much I personally lost the importance of Ace in Kiss to other people. Not necessarily to me, but like it wasn't until all these tributes started coming out from everywhere where I realized, man, like Ace might not have been, you know, John Lennon, but for as far as rock and roll goes, he's huge. He's huge. And I always, of course he was huge to me. And some of my friends, he was huge, ginormous too. And then some of my friends are like, I just don't get it. But now that I've had the opportunity to watch these videos, read these comments, read these press releases, see the videos that they put out, in concert, they're doing these tributes, all kinds of punk bands doing, Ace tributes. That's when you realize Ace wasn't, like, I always think Paul and Gene. I don't know why Paul and maybe that's because that's how it's been the last so many years, But really, Ace has always been the guy who like solidified. Like, I watched one today where somebody said, Jimi Hendrix was like this rock god, and Ace Frehley was like he solidified what a rock guitar god was, and his guitar playing was within reach for anybody. You could practice and work and you could learn Ace Frehley's music. Maybe, to be fair, I think it's a little bit harder than some people, but there are just some of these guys, just all they do is play guitar. But he was reachable. It wasn't like, when you're listening to Steve Vai and you're going, woo, how long is it going to take for me to play that? But I could put on Shock Me and learn that song because it's just good, straight ahead rock and roll. And I really felt, it's really funny because I started feeling bad about it. It's like almost like, I don't know how to put this. Almost like I just took him for granted, And unfortunately, he's got to be gone for me to go, oh, man, fuck, Ace was... Although I always thought Ace was the man, I never realized that he was the man for a whole lot more people than I ever knew about. I mean, I knew the Bret Michaels and the C.C. DeVille and the guy, what's his name, from Pearl Jam, and but I didn't realize Lenny Kravitz, but I did not realize some of these other guys, from out here, not in this circle of rock that I grew up on. These guys that were from out here in this other style of music they played, and it wasn't straight ahead rock like a Kiss rock or even a Poison rock or a Lenny Kravitz rock. It was just different, and for even Steve Vai, like I said before, he paid tribute, to Ace, and it was a serious, very straightforward, this man was important, tribute. And, so I'm discovering a whole lot more, how about this? Rediscovering. I don't want to sound like I dropped the ball on Ace. It's just, for some reason, because he was an influence on me, I never realized how big of an influence he was on everybody else. Obviously we knew Dimebag, you know what I mean? And but it's just really, really interesting how these things come into play.
Well,
Lee, have you-
hope. I hope he knows how much he was loved and how much he inspired everybody while he was here. I hope he knew that.
I'm pretty sure he did, because every night groups of people would walk in and just want to be near him.
Right.
Just want to be near him. They would pay the whatever it costs. I just want to be near.
It's so sad you have to pass away to get this much to really have it come out, But I know that's life. I understand.
Yeah,
that.
but
you don't know what you got till it's gone type.
Yeah, and I think thank you very much, Lee. I think that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's just like it's not like the Jim Croce where he became famous after he died. Ace was on the cover of tons of magazines. I just put one away. He was on the cover of all these magazines, and he was, on TV, and he did interviews, and he sat next to Robin Williams in an interview with Gene for, a thing. But I just don't think that. I just think that, he was always there. So anyway, Joey, thank you very much for sharing that with us. I hope you guys got a good idea of what's going on or what was going on. We're getting ready to go over and do our after school special. And we're going to talk some more about drumming and just all kinds of other stuff. And, come and hang out with us. Join. It's 99 cents. That's all it is. You could join it and get right in. And it's a special show that we only do for members only.
Joe, I'll give away a free copy too. Anyone that's over there, we'll do a little trivia question. I'll give away a free copy, a signed copy over there.
Absolutely. Nice. I'm going to give the answer to Lee now so she could win. Just kidding. All right. So, Joey, do you have anything to add besides buy my book?
No, again, guys, let's always remember Ace. Blast his music. Blast that first release Comet record. Blast the 78 solo record. Blast 10,000 volts. Blast your favorite Ace record. Every day, every night. That's how we're always going to remember Ace. Yep. And obviously my book is out. If you love Kiss, you want to hear the story of Kiss through the eyes of the drummers. It's a fun read. Tons of never before seen, not only pictures and documents, but stories and stuff. Check it out. It's a fun read.
Lee, do you have anything to add?
Just rest in peace, Ace. Joey, thanks for sharing a little bit about the funeral. It got me kind of choked up. So again, but thanks for sharing what you could.
Yes. And you know what I'm going to say? We love Kiss and we love Kiss podcasts. And by the way, did you happen to know, Joey, that we're the #1 Kiss podcast in the universe?
I did read a stat recently that we are the #1 Kiss podcast in the universe for I think it's 6 or 7 years straight. So yeah, keep it going, people.
Did you know that in the Encyclopedia of Kiss, they actually mentioned Podcast Rock City?
I didn't know that, but I did see that they were making an amendment to the 10 Commandments, and I heard that we were going to be the 11th commandment. That Podcast Rock City is the #1 podcast.
Thou shalt listen to the #1 podcast in the universe, Podcast Rock City. Anyway, you know what I'm going to say. We love Kiss and we love Kiss podcasts, and you're going to hear the commercials for all the ones that we love right after this in 3, 2, 1. Peace.